Mr. Vargas from California.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank the ranking member for this hearing, and in particular, thank you, Director Grewal, for being here. Director Grewal, last year, Congress passed my ESG Disclosure Simplification Act that would require public companies to disclose certain environmental, social, and governance ESG matters in annual filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Investors in my district and across the country have increasingly been demanding public companies disclose ESG material that is material and inform their market activity. As a result, the SEC has received thousands of comments from economists, market advocates, and investors requesting that companies and banks file ESG disclosures to protect investors, ensure fair, orderly, and efficient markets, and facilitate capital formation. Therefore, I'm glad that the SEC has proposed an ESG rule that clarifies reporting standards, quote, to promote consistent, comparable, and reliable information for investors concerning funds and advisors, incorporation, and environmental, social, and governance factors. Director Grewal, can you please describe how your division is positioned to enforce this rule once implemented and ensure that investors have access to standardized ESG disclosures?
Thank you, Representative Vargas, for the question. As I mentioned earlier, the rulemaking is done by different divisions than mine.
Right.
It's impossible for me to talk about climate enforcement because, pursuant to those rules, because they haven't been adopted and the version of the final rule hasn't been put out. What I could tell you is that we have seen, from the enforcement perspective, that ESG issues are certainly important to investors, that greenwashing is occurring. We're using the tools available to us, the anti-fraud provisions of the securities laws, to hold bad actors accountable, whether they're issuers who are misstating making material misstatements about climate risk or about their ESG strategies, or advisors who are doing the same thing. We're holding them accountable under the Advisors Act.
So you've been using the anti-fraud provisions, but they do seem a little bit inadequate. I think that's why they're coming up with the rules. Is that the reality?
The rules, again, I would have to refer you to the rulemaking divisions, but I think you mentioned it at the beginning of your question. It's to have in one format consistent, comparable information when issuers are speaking on these issues or when advisors are speaking on these issues. And so that consistency will help us evaluate compliance, and if people are lying about their compliance with those regs, then certainly that's something we would look at. But it's hard to talk about the rules before they're proposed or before they're made final.
That's a good point. But now you did talk about lies. You can enforce lies. In fact, you said that people have already confirmed that, or companies have already confirmed that they had lied in cases. So you were able to go after them under the anti-fraud provisions with respect to ESG.
That's right. We've brought some recent actions both in the advisor space and against issuers.
I was a little curious here when you said that obviously you have the experts in the law. Those are your lawyers, and you do have very good lawyers. But you said that you rely on experts for the environment or ESG matters outside of, I believe that you said outside of the SEC. Who are, I mean, are those regular experts that you would use in litigation, let's say for, well, you wouldn't in medical purposes, but an attorney would rely on experts bringing their case. Is that what you mean? Is that the type of expert you're talking about?
That's exactly right. That's something we frequently do in this space and other spaces where we need litigation experts, where we need to qualify experts for court proceedings, where we need to produce expert reports on litigation-related matters. That's right.
Well, I would commend you again for working in this ESG space. I think it's very important. I do think that many investors see that as material, which is what matters. And again, I appreciate you doing that. Lastly, I do want to comment very briefly on the issue of cryptocurrency. I can't believe that you're getting criticism for an industry that basically has almost collapsed and has taken so many retail investors down. I appreciate what you're doing. I know you need more people in that section, and I'm happy to support you in that. I have 13 seconds left, 12 seconds. And in that, I just say again, thank you for showing up. We appreciate you, and I think you're doing a hell of a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.